Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Weekend Deadaway. So basically, I was at the Motor City Nightmares horror convention over the summer. It was like my first time ever going to a horror convention, and that's how I found out about this movie. The director, he actually had a booth set up, and it it caught my interest. I'm like, oh, is this like booth like related to, like, are they promoting some movie? I'm like, I gotta, talk to whoever this is. I gotta get this scoop, like, they're, making some independent horror movie. I gotta chop it up with this guy and, see what the deal is. And yeah, it was like the director there. I had talked to him for a while, and he was super nice. Just, super conversational, chill. Like, he wasn't, you know, just just trying to shamelessly plug his movie. He was just, talking to me for like a long time, just like on like, we were just like small talking, chopping it up, joking, having a good time. So he was super nice, and yeah, basically he gave me the scoop on this movie. I followed all the socials. I'm like, you know what, like, I liked, I liked talking to this guy. He was super cool. I'm like, I gotta check out this movie. So I followed the socials, and I got an alert that, this movie was available to rent on Amazon. So like, I immediately, rented it on Amazon. And you know what? Like, after watching it, I was a fan. I did have a good time with this movie. So yeah, overall pretty good movie. But anyways, when I was at the booth for Weekend Deadaway, there was this thing you could like spin this wheel and you could win cool prizes. And the prize that I won is that I could get like a prop, like a screen use prop from the movie. And there was like the choices that I had, where I could get a like a screen used knife or a beer bottle. And I chose, of course, I always talk about, sipping some drinks here on the channel, so of course I chose to pick up the beer bottle. So this is like a screen used prop from the movie, so that's kind of cool. Nice little hooked up little freebie. And it was cool, because yeah, they were like sipping these like throughout the movie. They were sipping all kinds of drinks in this movie, which I always approve of that type of stuff. So yeah, basically it was kind of funny, because when I was, I didn't bring a backpack to the convention or like a bag or anything, so I was just, like carrying all kind, I was just carrying all my stuff, just and there was like a bar there. I didn't hit the bar, but there was like a little drink station where you could just, you could just get some beers or whatever. So, I wasn't driving or anything. My brother drove me there, and it was like a little event. So I'm like, and it was a little event. So I thought, let me live it up, have a couple beers. And I was kind of like, I had never done the whole like talking to celebrities thing. So I'm like, before I go up and approach them, I'm like, I gotta have a couple of drinks, I'm like, I gotta like loosen up, because I don't want to be all like nervous and, be a total starfucker or anything. So yeah, I had to have a couple of drinks. So it was funny, because I was, sipping, like I had like I was like sipping a Budweiser, and I had that in one hand and I had this bottle in the other hand. So I was like, just both of my hands I had beer bottles. And people didn't know this was a prop. So all kinds of people, like when I was walking around with a beer bottle in each hand, people were commenting like, yo, like you party, like my man, like turning up, like I see you, dude. Like, you know, like I'm trying to get on his level. That he's got, you know, he's got a beer in each hand. That's like, that's my man. Like, so people were saying all kinds of stuff, and I kept saying like I would just like respond like jokingly. I would be like, this one's a prop. I swear. Like I'm not like that crazy. You know, like I swear it's a prop. I'm not, you know, I'm not that heavy of a drinker. I'm pacing myself. You know, so yeah. I thought that was kind of fun, but yeah, like it was cool to get this little prop and see it in the movie, and yeah, I thought I would share that little story as well. But anyways, actually, I'm barely even. I swear I'll talk about the movie eventually, but I gotta like, you know, while I'm talking about the movie, I gotta flex it too. When I was at the booth, they gave me this bracelet. I've been wearing that in like a lot of videos. I've been repping. Got the Weekend Deadaway bracelet. I love these little plastic bracelets. When I was a kid, when I was like growing up, these were really popular. And I don't know if people remember this, but it was like a thing where these like rubber wristbands, people would, like, kids would wear like 20 on each arm. You wouldn't just wear like one or two, you'd have like 20 on each arm. So I got mad nostalgia for these type of bracelets. They rock. So yeah, they gave me this little freebie bracelet. That was cool. And then this isn't from the movie booth, but I am rocking the Motor City Nightmares shirt. It's got like some thick demonic lady on there. She's like a voluptuous lady. Like, look at this. Look at this. I mean, that's a beautiful demonic entity. I mean, I had to get that shirt with that super thick monster lady. I mean, come on, I had to get that. So yeah, that's the Motor City. That's not from the movie, but that's from the convention, Motor City Nightmares shirt. So I'm rocking the shirt. I'm rocking all my gear today. So I don't know. I like wore it for the video because I'm talking about the convention. So I'm like, oh, let me throw that shirt on today. So yeah, I had to show that too. I mean, it's just like weird. You just have some like super thick monster lady on there, like, you know, just like with her butt cheeks like just hanging out. I mean, I'm here for it, but it is a little crazy. It's a little suggestive. I don't know. But anyways, let me actually talk about the movie. I think I've been talking for like, you know, 30 minutes here, just rambling. Let me get with the program. Let me get back to let me get back to today's programming here. So basically, yeah, my general consensus of Weekend Deadaway, I think it's very good overall. In terms of a quick plot summary, let me get into that. So the movie focuses on this young couple, and basically the gentleman Hunter, he's working this office job, and he's just totally burnt out with work. So basically he's like, okay, I gotta go on a little trip. So his girlfriend and a bunch of their friends who are also couples, they all, you know, go on this little trip to this little cabin in the woods, you know, because they're all working these office jobs. They're all, you know, just working hard, you know, going crazy, so they're burnt out. So they go on this little trip to this cabin in the woods, and initially it's all good, but then, you know, weird things start happening, and eventually they start getting picked off by an unknown killer. So that is the basic plot summary. And then for this video, the way I'm going to format it, I'm just going to get into my likes, and then I'm going to get into my dislikes. So it's going to be very simple. So I'm gonna get into my likes first. So, okay, I really like the look of this movie. This is, you know, it's an independent movie. It's not like a big studio production. It's not like they had, you know, $80 million to work with. So, in a lot of cases, with those more, you know, with those lower budget movies, those movies that aren't a big studio movie, sometimes they have like a cheap look to them. This movie did not have a cheap look. This movie, it looked very sharp. You know, whatever camera they used, whatever, you know, color grading they did, it looked fantastic. It had a very sharp look. And in addition to just like the actual look of the footage, the move, like the a lot of the locations were beautiful. Like this movie just had a beautiful look overall. The cinematography was on point. There was like a lot of really cool drone shots, like, you know, cool aerial shots. The cinematography was great. There were some cool like snappy like quick like transitions that I liked, kind of like creative transitions. So yeah, like the cinematography was on point. The locations were beautiful. I really liked like the cabin they stayed at, and you know, just there were, in addition to the locations like looking nice, and then yeah, there was like they like picked up one of their buddies, and it was like this big mansion. They were driving around in like Corvettes and Mustangs. So it's like a pretty, for a independent, for like a lower budget independent movie, not only are the locations beautiful, but like the whole movie, like it's like a pretty big scale movie. Like for an independent movie, like I'm saying, they're the locations are like these like super expensive looking houses or cabins. Like they're in like beautiful cars. Like it's big scale. Like it seems, it's almost like they did like a trick. Like it's like they're like the filmmakers are like magicians with it, where they didn't have that much money to work with, but they made this movie look like it was made for like a lot more money. And who knows, maybe they, you know, pulled some favors, which like a lot of the times, you know, filmmakers do. But yeah, like this movie was big scale. It did not feel like some little cheap indie film. Like it felt like, you know, like a lot bigger budget. Like it felt like more like it had a bigger budget than it probably did. So that was cool. I also really liked the dialogue. The dialogue was like, it was really realistic. Like it was just, you know, friends kind of like shooting the shit. Like, I mean, not throughout the entire movie, because I mean there's different like relationship dynamics. Like there's like romantic relationships, but like all the dialogue was just super realistic. And I kind of like the playful banter between like couples or between friends. That was realistic as well. And there was some good comedic dialogue too. Like there's this one instance where the main guy, Hunter, he's in a work bathroom. I think he's about to like light up a joint or something, and there's this girl in there, and she like pops up on him, and he's like scared, and he's like all jumpy, and she's like, whoa, like why are you so high strung? You need like a Xanax or something. And then she's like, I think she's like, you need like a WBJ. I'm probably totally butchering that line, but he's like, what is that? She's like, it's just like a BJ, but like at work or something. So yeah, there was like some really funny dialogue too. So yeah, the dialogue in this was fantastic. Shouts out to whoever wrote the dialogue, really good. And then, you know, this movie was an extremely slow burn movie, almost like, you know, like the original 1978 Halloween. And it was like surprising for me, because, you know, so many movies nowadays, like, you know, people talk about that. It might have been even John Carpenter John Carpenter, why can't I speak in these videos, who said something like this, like that movies are almost like music videos nowadays, where it's like everything is so quick, the cuts are super quick, and you know, they gotta be like action packed right off the bat. Like, you know, that is true, like especially with horror movies nowadays. Like, there's gotta be kills right away, there's gotta be action right away, it's gotta be extremely quickly paced. This was more of a slower burn movie. Like, stuff really, like the more eventful stuff in the film doesn't really start happening until the third act. Like, it's just building, and it's mostly just, you know, dialogue, and some creepy stuff happens here and there, and there's some, you know, little foreshadowing. Like, stuff really doesn't start happening until the end, and it's a slower burn, but it's not boring. And you know, movies don't do that nowadays. Like, I can't recall a more recent horror movie that is more of a slower burn like that. So yeah, that, I mean, I respect them for doing that. I like a good slower burn movie, and that's, you know, ballsy. Like, people aren't doing that nowadays. Everyone, you know, you kind of got to get in to fit in, so everyone's just doing the real quick, over the top stuff, which I like that stuff too, but I like that, you know, they went with like the slower burn, because that's, like I said, people don't do that nowadays. And this is the last thing I have in my likes. You can really tell this, like, the filmmakers have like a clear love for the genre. Like, this is an homage to stuff like, you know, Friday the 13th. Like, it's more Friday the 13th centric, but there is even some kind of elements that seem like a homage to like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but it is like overtly like a love letter to movies like Friday the 13th. Like, the lake they're staying at, it's called Crystal Lake, for crying out loud. So yeah, the filmmakers clearly, you know, have a love for the genre, and this doesn't seem like a cheap cash grab. It seems like it's made, you know, by horror fans for horror fans. So that's pretty cool. Had to shout that out. And yeah, that's wrapping it up with my likes. So a lot of likes there. In terms of dislikes, my first dislike is related to the slower burn thing. So the slower burn thing was overall a positive, but something that I did not like, that was jarring to me, was like the movie was you know, had like a slower pace, and then once the movie became more action-packed and eventful, it was almost like stuff started happening too quickly, and it was like blink and you miss it. And you know, like, I was waiting the whole movie for the kills and like the final, you know, showdown, and like the final chase with the final girl. And just like once I got to it, I feel like the pacing in that section, or just the pace at which the events were occurring, was like so quick that it was like blink and you miss it. And I wish it would have been like a little bit slower, like still faster than the rest of the movie like preceding it, but I wish it would have been a little bit slower, so I could kind of, you know, savor it, and I could kind of process it, because it's like you know, characters that I really like. It's like, oh, they're gone, this happened, like this revelation happened. Like, it was just, I wanted that section to be like paced faster, and I wanted it to be eventful, but it was almost like they just jammed so much into the end that, like I said, like, I didn't get time to savor it, and I didn't get time to process. Also, kind of piggybacking off that point, another dislike that I have is that I wish that the kills were more spread out. So, you know, there weren't really any kills until the third act, and the way most of the kills were set up, they were like in succession. Like, it was like one massacre, like everyone's massacred, and I feel like all of the kills took place in what was like probably 2 to 5 minutes of screen time, and it was like, for the most part, like there were kills after, but for the most part, like most of the main kills were like back to back to back, and it was like probably like 2 to 5 minutes of screen time. And you know, I think that's like a unique way to do it, to like have it be like one big massacre. And you know, it was action packed, but I wish the kills were just a little bit more spread out. Like I wish there was a little bit more time to breathe in between the kills, so that I could really like appreciate the kills more and savor them more. So yeah, I wish the kills were more spread out. And okay, basically, you know, for the most part, I thought the kills were serviceable. There weren't really any cutaway kills. There was a good amount of variety. There was, you know, some good blood and gore. But another thing that I added to my dislikes on my little notes was this is more of a personal preference thing for me. Like there was like a lot of the kills were very like heavy with the CGI, and just for me personally, like I'm not a huge fan of you know, CGI kills. You know, of course, like a lot of kills use like a little bit of CGI, but like when it's like over the top, in your face CGI, that usually like turns me off. So yeah, like a lot of the kills in this did use a lot of CGI, and that kind of turned me off a little bit, and like kind of like took me out of the whole experience. But you know, this is like a lower budget independent film, so you know, for saving time and saving money, they probably did what they had to do. You know, practical effects take a lot of time. Maybe, you know, not as many people are like trained in that art form these days, so it might have been like harder to get someone to do that. Maybe it was like you know, they had like a time constraint, they had a money constraint where they had to do the CGI. But you know, since this was kind of like this movie was kind of like an homage to, you know, like 80s slashers and stuff like Friday the 13th, it would have been cool if the kills were more practical, even if they didn't look, even if they looked more fake. Like I would have taken that over the CGI stuff. You know, just because I don't know, the CGI, it did take me out of it, and it sometimes like the CGI makes it look less realistic, because it's like like it takes you out of it, where it's like everything is, you know, like it's not like a cartoon. Like this is, they're filming stuff happening in real time. You have like real actors, real locations. It's all practical, and then like when the kills and the blood are CGI, it's kind of like a weird, like it doesn't mesh, like it doesn't meld together well when it's like everything else on screen is like real, and then you have this like fake blood, or you know, fake whatever. So yeah, that was my last thing that I have for my dislikes. But yeah, overall, I did like this movie. I think it was, you know, it was like an entertaining movie. It wasn't boring. It was like slower paced, but it was like a slower burn, but it wasn't boring. I liked, you know, the dialogue. I thought the locations were cool. And then, you know, even though I did have some problems with the third act, like once the horror stuff started happening, I did like all the horror elements for the most part as well. So yeah, overall, you know, I was a fan of this movie. In terms of a recommendation, I would recommend it. I rented it on Amazon. You could rent it for like, I believe it's like $5.99 now, which like isn't that expensive. So yeah, you know, if you're a horror fan and you're a fan of like more like independent films, I would say this is worth checking out. And you know, yeah, you know, go out and support this movie. You know, because I talked to the director. He was like a super nice guy, and I always like, you know, supporting these uh, you know, independent movies, because it's like, you know, the people who are making them, they're living the dream. They're out here, you know, doing it themselves, which is you gotta respect. Because I like, you know, I like big studio movies. I like $100 million blockbusters, but I don't know. It's cool just seeing that more like everyman approach. It's like people just out here doing it, living the dream, being resourceful, getting it done. So yeah, I would say I do recommend it. Go out and support this. It's a good little independent horror film. So that has been my recommendation, and that has been my review of Weekend Deadaway. Thank you all very much for watching, and peace out.